an unusual or risky choice to begin with, to have a child as the narrator of that book. The book has September 11th as a backdrop, and the young boy lost his father on that day. And Ron Charles, who I think is probably not in the audience right now, but who's a really wonderful book reviewer for the Washington Post, wrote in his review of my book that day, and by extension the book, made children of all of us. I happen to remember that line, and I remember very, very few lines of reviews. And I think that he was right, that there was a way in which it reawakened a kind of vulnerability in us, also a sense of wonder or astonishment, a sense of being small in the face of things that are very big, and of course a child's anxiety. It's interesting because the topic of eating animals does the exact reverse. It makes adults of all of us in the sense that we are very willing to accept things that we know in our hearts just aren't right, in ways that kids don't do. If anyone's had the experience of trying to explain to a kid where meat comes from, it often involves a kind of a pleasant version of an unpleasant story. And even then, I think they're good at sniffing out what's wrong with the story that's being told to them. Now, as for the form of the book, I don't think that books need images at all. My favorite books don't have images. That book is filled with images and has a very maximal style, in part because I wanted the form to reflect the content. Oscar the hero has this very flamboyant, maximal imagination. He refers to his imagination as being like beavers. He says, beavers chop down trees not only to build dams, but because if they weren't constantly filing their teeth down on trees, their teeth would grow into their own skulls and they would die. And he said, my imagination is like that. Like, it has to be active, otherwise I'd be left to contemplate, this tragic reality of my life. And I wanted the book to have that same kind of manic quality or hysterical quality. And that was why I did it. The fiction I'm working on now doesn't include any kind of images. As we move forward and books are going to be read on screens, which seems inevitable, for better or for worse, it would be hard for literature to resist the temptation to become more visual. The newspapers have, you could say, fallen prey to that temptation. If you look at the New York Times online, there's embedded video, there's embedded sound, and we expect that of a newspaper. The question is, will readers expect the same thing of novels when they're on that vehicle? It's like, if you were, it's imagine pushing a wheelbarrow on the Autobahn and all the cars beeping behind you, saying like, speed up or get off the road. I think that writers are going to feel those honking horns behind them. And the challenge will be to remember what's good about books, which is that they're slow, and that they're inefficient, and that they're a single task endeavor, and that they're inefficient and they're not going anywhere. So much of life, there's this increased emphasis on efficiency. Can we do 3 things instead of 2 at a time? Can I make it somewhat quicker? Can my food come to me quicker? Can I get my job done more quickly? Can I spend less time with my family? This is where we are. And books are the antidote to that, but it's going to be increasingly difficult to stand against all of this efficiency. So readers will have a part to play, writers will have a part to play, publishers will have a part to play, and another reason I'm grateful to be here today is because festivals like this are one of the great, like the saving grace of literature, reminding us that we're a huge community, that we're a diverse community, and that this is at least as good a way to spend time as updating your Facebook page.